Hello everyone, welcome to my emergency live stream. I am Nicholas Zandy, and there's quite a lot to discuss this time. So, this one was just almost completely unplanned, so much so that I became late, and that was because, I was a little bit concerned about my device, and now I've got to have extended security updates throughout the next year because support for Windows 10 is ending. So I'm probably going to get a different device. But anyways, this one is just sort of like an unplanned live stream because it's just news that came to me right by surprise, like a truck just running you over. I know I'm being a little overly dramatic, but yeah. So it's an article came out reporting that Super Sentai is going to be ending, or at least the name itself is going to be ending, and it's going to be rebranding, possibly on a different network, moving to streaming as like something like Universal Warriors or something, which is admittedly a pretty lame and wordy name. And it's probably going to go in more like a Gundam / Metal Hero style direction, which I don't know if that's right. Because, it will probably take away the spandex. Okay, Dr. K. Jeez. Nanofiber style fighting with the martial arts stuff that Super Sentai had been known for 50 whole years, 5 whole decades. And so I'm just kind of concerned about like the direction Super Sentai is honestly going. As much as I don't like the direction Power Rangers is going to be going in, I really do not like what's going on with Super Sentai. So I'm going to share a screen right here, and I'm going to show you the article, and you're going to be the judge of it. And this is me sort of live reacting to it, so this is my first time reading it. And plus, this is using the Google Translate filter, which is admittedly not the best way of translating that. So if there was a translation error, if someone who knows Japanese better than I do, please comment below what it actually meant. But in general, this is Super Sentai. What if we made all Super Sentai? So I don't know what this is a response to, but made all Super Sentai titles Super Sentai XX like we did with Power Rangers XX. It would make the branding framework of the series easier to understand. However, as we discussed it, we realized that this would make them just one of many. I mean, Kamen Rider already does that, but okay. It's a series from another company, but the title Mobile Suit Gundam Witch of Mercury really resonated with Shinkura-san when making the Gundam series. He said, Witch of Mercury doesn't come up very often. It's scary. Witch of Mercury. It's a title that stands out lined up with other series. Again, it sounds pretty awkward because this is a translation, but again, we decided to go in the direction of naming it something that would broaden the scope of the series, like Witch of Mercury. Go-Zhu-Zher, obviously this is badly translated because Go-Zhu-Zher is actually spelled Gozyu-Ger, and this one's with a J, which again, this is wrong. I don't know how that. Anyways, Go-Zhu-Zher was decided at a fairly early stage. Around the same time, the idea of Strongest Sentai was also proposed, but it seemed a little plain. We also considered names like Sentai Strongest Legend, Sentai Tenkaichi Decision Battle, and even the old All-Century Sentai. We considered various Sentai titles, and finally we thought, oh well, let's just make it katakana. Even Avataro is written in kanji. Bokchi the Scent? I don't even know what that means. Stray Sentai, I think that is. So, like, so apparently the Rangers really can't be together because of the blue and the green Rangers, so it's like blue screen, green screen, I guess. So this one is very important, so I'll just highlight this. Regarding the design, as I mentioned with Shirakura-san, sorry, I mispronunciation. The most white trash American thing you can do. Yeah, sorry. Shirakura-san. I asked, which san I think is something like Mr. in Japanese, so Mr. Shirakura or something. I asked Plex to create a design that could rival Kamen Rider. I think that's what it's supposed to mean. I think it's what's essential for Super Sentai. I think what's essential is not the shape or silhouette, but the color design. Which is why Kamen Rider Saber has been called Sentai-like. So it's also been quite a burden, so come on, English, come on. So what this basically means is we're probably going to see a lot more, like, shall I say, like, very armored Sentai series. And that, again, it's going to be going away from its, like, roots and more towards, like, something a little bit more, like, Metal Hero, which I'm not a fan of. Because what Super Sentai is fundamentally is like a group of like average everyday warriors using whatever they've got against a greater empire. And that design has been part of Super Sentai for centuries. I mean, there have been changes like over the years, like with Q Ranger and Go Busters, but they still kept within the universe. And does that mean we're just going to lose all those combining robots? Because combining robots have been part of Super Sentai since like the 80s. And so by not having them combine again, if that is to be believed, I honestly don't like. I just want this to be a one-time thing for Gojira. Please do not do the same thing with like whatever this new series is. I don't even know what they're going to call it. I know it's going to be partially ninja / magic themed. So, but also it's sort of like ending as like Super Sentai. Now it kind of does make sense. Like if you've noticed a pattern with the last few Sentai seasons, they've been kind of trending in the direction of like treading on older ground because they have a lot of parallels with the first 5 Sentai shows. I don't know if I'm the only one to notice this, but the most recent 5 Sentai shows have been like very similar. You've got, what was it? Zenkaiger, which is a lot like Go Ranger. or at least, the Red Ranger looks kind of like, Aka Ranger. Well, a little bit of Big One, but it's mostly like Aka Ranger, so it's just like Sentai themed. It doesn't have its own unique theme. Similar to like Go Ranger, which doesn't have one as well. Then you've got Dawn Brothers, which is like sort of card game themed, but instead of like Western card games, it's more Eastern card games with Momotaro, which I believe is like a popular like game in Japan or something, or maybe it's like chess pieces like Paishwa from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Then King Oger, which has multiple fictional countries represented, similar to Battle Fever, which has actual real life countries represented. Plus, those fictional countries are kind of like references to like real life countries. Obviously, the Red Rangers country is based off of the UK. The Blue Rangers country is like a cross between Singapore and the US. The Yellow Rangers country is obviously the Netherlands. The Black Rangers country is obviously ancient Japan. The Purple Rangers country is, I guess, probably Russia. While the White Rangers country is, I think, probably Germany/Prussia, just by the way he looks, because, it's like new player on the scene, and plus the white and black color scheme. That's kind of like a Prussia kind of thing. I don't know. They're like fictionalized versions of real life countries. And then Boom Boomger, like, it's got that explosion theme, so it's kind of similar like Denjiman, plus with the funny helmets. It's also kind of similar to Denjiman. And Gojuger, obviously, anniversary animals. That's actually what Sun Vulcan was. And just FYI, yes, Go Ranger and Jacker were actually part of Super Sentai at the start. The reason actually wasn't because they didn't have Megazords or anything. It was because of copyright with Ishinomori. And Toei was in a dispute with them. But since he passed away, they were able to negotiate with his family, and that now they share the rights to Super Sentai. So I think that maybe they were just unsure if they wanted to continue it, is probably why they wanted to tread on older ground. Plus, with Power Rangers going in a different direction, or just not knowing what direction they want to go in. Because I don't think Hasbro is very sure about what Power Rangers is going in. I think that they probably just want it to go international and just bypass Power Rangers, because Hasbro's been shooting themselves in the foot and trying to get people to watch it. And so because of that, I was just, thinking maybe they're just trying to bypass it. A lot of people have been thinking that. Honestly, I think that could be logical. I don't know. Like, if it's because of trademark, maybe that's why. But even still, if you have multiple color like rangers of like different, even if you just call it like universal like rangers or something, like, it's still fundamentally going to be something like Super Sentai. Like, people are just going to know it as Super Sentai. Like, plus, even if you just change it to be more like Metal Heroes but with teams, it's just going to look kind of weird to a lot of fans of the show. So, in general, I am not a fan of what Sentai is going to be doing in the long run. Also, it kind of just brings me into this whole thing, like, if they do go back to doing Sentai adaptations for Power Rangers, would that mean, okay, now Power Rangers actually can catch up to Gojuger, I guess? So, like, what would the team names be? Like, I've come up with a few names, like for King Oger, I've come up with like Beetle Royale. I don't know why no one else has come up with it, but Beetle Royale just sounds like a really cool name as a Power Rangers name, like Power Rangers Beetle Royale. It's a reference to Battle Royale, also insects, royals. Makes sense. Beetle Royale. It's a clever name. Let's see. Dawn Brothers, I don't think would ever be adaptable. Same thing with Zenkaiger. Like Zenkaiger, I guess you could say something like RoboForce. And for Dawn Brothers, probably Data Squad, since it's kind of video game like. I guess for Kira Major, which I think was the series that was supposed to be adapted, but ended up not being adapted, since Hasbro did work on the aesthetic, as Jason Bischoff once stated. So, like, maybe, what would it be, like, Solar Nexus? I think that would totally work. Solar Nexus. Zyuohger, I don't know if it might be necessary to adapt anymore because you got Go.I.Z.A.R.D now, so it might be redundant. But if you really want to lean into it, I guess probably something like Primal Instincts, I guess? I don't know. That one's the hardest one I have had. Probably something like Beast or something, like Beast Prism. I guess that could work. Or Anaprism. I don't know. Boom Moonger, I know this is a cliche, but Nitro Charge would make sense. Plus, like the race car thing, I would probably just change it to be more spy themed, I guess, because I think that would be pretty cool. Like they're just part of a larger organization or something. If we were going to adapt Q Ranger again, but this time fully, maybe something like Cosmic Force to tie it to Cosmic Fury, but its powers are just separated fully from Dino Fury. So they're just thus more powerful, I guess. And also, the shark is renamed a swordfish because of like an error in the morphing grid as like a little joke. I don't know. I don't know if we can retread on old ground like that. I mean, I guess what else could be adapted? Well, obviously, Go.I.Z.A.R.D, the current one. In terms of like an adaptation name, I would probably say something like Primal Thunder, because it just seems like a really cool name. Like Primal is actually a reference to like prime, like one being a prime number, and also primal as in like animals. So Primal Thunder kind of works. Plus the rings, it's like magical thunder. So, and thunder is like, a reference to like MMPR, and it's supposed to be like a legacy season like Dino Thunder was. So Primal Thunder would just make a whole lot of sense. Don't know much about like how I would do King Oger. I would probably change them from kings to knights because I think that would be a bit more relatable than kings, because I don't know if Americans relate to royals as much, though. I mean, Disney, there's like Disney princesses being a thing, so I don't know. Like, the only characters that I think might need to be princesses would probably be the Yellow Ranger. As for and the Red Ranger, I would say like he's a replacement for another character. So I would say set it up similar to Jungle Fury, where the Red Ranger was a last minute pick because the original pick for the Red Ranger went rogue and was being kind of a jerk and would later get possessed by the main villain or something like that. It would explain why they would later duel. Maybe you could have them be brothers or something. I don't know. I guess maybe you could make them stepbrothers, like how one of them was actually part of a commoner's family. Or something like, I don't know, like Sophia the First. Go.I.Z.A.R.D, I would have the Red Ranger be like a Hank Hill type character, like a conservative who just doesn't really understand the changing times. And probably just doesn't think all that much of the Power Rangers. Because a lot of them have just become like a fad for like kids, I guess. And they're just a bunch of flashy, loud, obnoxious idiots instead of like the gods that they used to be. Like he probably just holds like the original Power Rangers in very high regard as just tough role models who are really good, and over time that just fell apart over the years and they just became a bunch of whiny babies, as he likes to call them. I would also have him like, sell something similar to Hank Hill. I'd say maybe he works at a grocery store and specializes in selling like vegetable oil or something and other like kitchen appliances or something. Like he works on stuff like that. Like he specializes in selling cooking oil. Like really clean cooking oils like vegetable, canola, or peanut oil, and not some of those like seed oils, which would alienate him with a lot of modern conservatives who are very much all about villainizing them. And he probably gets angry when someone brings beef tallow into his own house, and he gets like pissed, saying there's beef grease on my brother's like nails. You don't get that from a clean, healthy oil. Then they're like, well, you don't get the rich, beefy flavor either. The rich, greasy flavor. Greasy, I don't know. Just kind of reflecting my own views, like, I'm not a big fan of meat oils. So, in general, something like that, that's how I would do it. And the Blue Ranger, I could have her, and yes, I'm going to have the Blue Ranger change their gender. Who, by the way, the Blue Ranger actually is my profile picture, because Detroit Lions, even though they lost tonight, unfortunately, but against the Vikings, but as a little reference to them. But I think that's the one character I could change to female, because the Blue Ranger is like a very gender fluid character, so I can totally make the character female. I would make it so that the Blue Ranger is very liberal, is kind of the opposite of him, like very liberal. She's like very open to others. And I would like it if the two were actually siblings. That would be really cool. One of the few times that I think the sibling thing would actually work, where you've got the brother who's like very stuck up and conservative and hates change and believes the Power Rangers should be tough warriors, like gods, while the Blue Ranger is just kind of the opposite. Like, no, they should be like everyone else. And you could also understand like their differences in like how they were raised. Like the older brother, I don't know, was there ever a Ranger named Luke? I think Luke could totally work for a Ranger. Luke, like the older brother, could easily just be a tough, serious character, raised in a very conservative way by a rather hardened war hero of a father. And you could have that, be a past Ranger all you want. Like maybe Troy, since his actor is kind of like that in real life. And you could have him be a war veteran following the footsteps of his father. And because not many people like him, you could easily villainize him a little bit by him having just a very negative effect on him, on his own son. I don't know what girl character you could end up with. And of course, the mother remarries and marries someone a bit more liberal and has a different child named, I don't know, Leona, I guess? I don't know. And she's much more fluid and open to others. And as siblings, the two stay around as roommates together. And the two just, in general, don't get along very well. But the two actually have to work together as siblings. The Green Ranger, that one I would change. I don't think a senior in a young adult's body would age very well. So, in fact, it would probably be a dead on arrival. So I would like the character to be like maybe an immigrant, similar to like Khan from King of the Hill, who's constantly like mislabeled in a different race. Like, are you Lebanese or are you Syrian? And he says, actually, I'm from Iran. I'm Persian. I speak Farsi. And the two just can't get the hint. And of course, the Blue Ranger gets angry. And of course, his father's like, no, he ain't. Like, something like he's from Syria. He's like, he's Syrian. Like, no, he ain't. He's Iranian. Ain't just like, their words, not mine. Okay, let's make this clear. So something like that. I would really love the idea of like tackling racism in a very like subtle way. If I were to adapt that. And the Yellow Ranger, I guess, kind of similar, make them like similar to Dale, where they're kind of a conspiracy theorist and are just kind of into the pseudo nonsense. Like just being an all-around conspiracy theorist. The Black Ranger, I would have her be kind of a loner type. Like maybe, I don't know if I would go full on goth with her, but just in general, the Black Ranger, just kind of a loner. I could totally see that working. The White Ranger, that one's interesting. I haven't thought of the idea. Like, obviously it's a polar bear, so I've already got two polar opposites with the Red and Blue Ranger. So maybe, I guess, because I would want the Red and Blue Rangers to obviously be white, because I think that totally works for them. The Green Ranger is obviously like from the Middle East, so obviously from Iran. The Yellow Ranger, I'm not sure. Like the Black Ranger, I would go Hispanic because I think that could work. Not sure about the Yellow Ranger. I guess maybe I could make him. What? Here. I know he's. I guess maybe black. I don't know. The Polar Ranger, as I'm gonna call him. He's like, I don't know. I have a loss for words. Maybe he's Asian. I don't know. But in general, maybe he's just like a fish out of water or something. Maybe he's like a fisherman. I don't know. But in general, something like that. And so that's what I would do. But in terms of my opinion on the whole Super Sentai thing, rebranding, honestly, I'm not a fan. And I'm actually concerned about the future, even if it isn't ending. Now, I'm also going to give you a bit of unfortunate news. So the Witch trivia that I promised, that's unfortunately going to have to be delayed. Maybe next year. I don't know. The problem is that not enough people applied for it, and I need to have at least 2 or 3 people in the first round of each. And I don't have that. I only have 1 of each. So I can't have and I want to have a fair trivia game. I don't want to coronate anyone. I want to have an actual fair trivia game for everyone. If I can't have that, I can't do a trivia game. So yeah, that's going to be put on hold for now. So please apply for it while it lasts, because I'm going to be extending the deadline, because you've actually got to apply for it. And if you're not going to apply for it, well, might as well have to cancel it. Now, I don't want to be mad at anyone. It's kind of my fault for just not promoting it very well. So I want to try to get louder about it, but please apply for it whenever you can, because it means a lot to me, and the Witch fandom really means a lot to me, and I need to be able to do this. And I messed up with the writing. So yeah, it's supposed to be rewrite, but it's Rewite. Whoops. Nobody's writing in the chat. Another thing I wanted to share was a rewrite. So, the older one, read at your own risk. It is just, I'm just going to say it. The old one, it's bad. Really bad. I'll show you what the older one. Now, you've seen the older one several times. I'm not going to go into detail in it. But to summarize, where I went wrong, Will, his character just ended up being way too similar to Harry Potter. And I'm just going to be real with you guys on Harry Potter. I've fallen out of love with it ever since J.K. Rowling turned out to be an egotistical crybaby. I just, in general, don't want anything to do with the franchise anymore. Plus, I'm just going to say it, I do echo what what Vera from Council of Geeks said, where the books actually got worse over time. Especially after book 4, as the books got longer, it just felt like the pacing had gotten worse. So because of that, I just don't really want anything to do with Harry Potter. I'm just kind of done with that shit. Excuse my language, but I don't want anything to do with it. So I decided I needed to rewrite his character. I mean, obviously one of his parents, Will, I think she should still die, because I think we should still have one of the Guardians die off, so that we make this clear. Yeah, we gotta had a hiccup. Move on to a different direction. Isabella, she's getting renamed to Iris, and also her last name is being changed from Tubbs to Hornby, because Martin and Irma do not need each other. It would be generally really bad if they were a couple. For both of them. Because Martin should be with someone who's more his style. And same thing with Irma, and I think Andrew just makes more sense, because I think the two would have much better chemistry. So, and also Tyranny, and yes, I do pronounce her name as Tyranny, because I think that just makes a little more sense pronunciation wise. With Nigel, no problems. Zach Ashcroft, though I'm changing it a little bit so that he's not immediately Will's best friend. I would like Will to be more of an anti-hero. Angelica, she's also getting renamed. It's now April. And I took a lot of inspiration from Riot Crane from their Instagram. And I changed it to April because I just saw that character, and it had she had a lot of, April just seemed to have a lot of chaotic energy from all that fan art. I was like, I'm going to use that so I'll credit her right here. because I think that could totally work. I still want her to eventually form a romance with Will, but not from the start, because I was jumping the gun between Will and Angelica in the original version, and Angelica just ended up just being love interest. Like, she just was there to fill in the quota, and also because you got to have 5 guardians. So I wanted to make her more of a character in her own right. So I would have her just, be probably something like a tomboy, I guess, who's doesn't like conforming to her parents. Like, her parents like have very high expectations, and she doesn't really want to meet her mother's expectations. Like, she probably prefers her father, but not by much. Like, Caleb wants them to toughen up to be a war hero, while Cornelia wants them to always look good. And that leads to a very clashiness and kind of a, I don't want to say toxic because I don't want to villainize Cornelia that much, but more so just they have high expectations for their children. Also, Hylan and Eric having a child name, and I changed the gender to Ren David because I just felt that Rendon, first off, terrible name. I don't know why I came up with it. I just needed to fill out the last letters of wizard, but Rendon just it goes into the J.K. Rowling style of writing, which is just awful. So I changed it to Ren David because Ren just sounds a little bit better, and David just so that it can match. Plus, David could work from like his father's side because I think Eric might be Hispanic, I'm not sure, but if it is, like, it could totally work just meshing with some of the Chinese things. So I would say doing that by doing this, it would totally work. Plus, the 6-letter acronym still has to be there. Now, and so because of that, 5. So yeah, the Guardians are going to be like very different from the others. So I'll read you the script. If I can go onto Wattpad. I gotta log in. So it's just going to be my weird, like, dramatic reading of my own script. Oh, notifications. Offers, of course. Fix that alone. It's gonna be a minute, okay? Just give me a minute. So we open on the Temple of Kandrakar, the universe center, in a place beyond all time and space. So it's kind of similar to the comics. And you can read this part where we see this. So, members of the council, time is running short. Our new White King has risen, and Kandrakar is in danger once again. We need to summon the Guardians to protect us, as they did previously in the Great Interdimensional War. Who are the ones chosen this time? Glad you asked, Mr. Larson. It's a pretty funny last name for all of them. They are 5 emotional, agonistic, spiteful, yet energetic individuals. Emotional, agonistic, spiteful, yet energetic? Please don't tell me you're going to say it. 5 adolescents, Miss Kotsky. And I suspect that those chosen will all be female. Is that correct? Surprisingly, no. The first male guard. Oh gosh, I fucked up my grammar. Whoops. Let me edit this. Hold on. How did I fuck it up? I don't know. Not like that, you idiot. Edit. Not like that. Publish changes. I fucked that up. I don't know how I did that. First male guardian since Althor was on the team. Before me and Miss Chacon here. 3 boys and 2 girls, to be exact. Nature is their friend, Earth is their mother, and the elements are their allies. Then she places the stones in the hearth, summoning the symbols of each element: blue for water, red for fire, yellow for earth, green for air, and silver for quintessence. Water, fire, earth, air, and quintessence. All under the control of the keeper. Will, wake up! We're at Heatherfield Police Station. Whoa. I talked to the Turbo Store manager, and they're not pressing any charges. This is it, Will. I'm afraid if you steal anything else, I'm afraid there's nothing I can do for you. I didn't steal anything. It was my cousin who did it. Will, listen. Your parents and I go way back. But if I'm being honest, I'm losing patience. You turn 18 this afternoon. Don't treat life with your aunt and uncle for a jail cell. Now, get your bag, take the bus, and go home, Will. And let this be the last time I ever see you again. And of course, he goes into the office. Okay, and he's in the living room with his aunt, Abigail, and Uncle Bill. Neither see me. What did Chief Lair tell you this time, Will? Don't trade your house for a jail cell, as if I were been committing any of those crimes that Leon caused. Me? Robin Auto Shop? Don't make me laugh, cuz. What's next? Accusing me of stealing the center of this whole universe's magic or something? Leon, this is no laughing matter. If you mess this up for me, again, I'll spend at least a night in jail. And just for that, we're taking you out of the house. What? On my birthday? Yes, and take a look at this world on your dad's motorbike, because this might be the last time you get to experience any fresh air. Oh dear, Will is in trouble. Now, pack up and go, or I'll send you to the slammer for trespassing. Is that clear to you? Fine, but another threat will result in a restraining order. Oh, really? I'll see you try to make that stick. Oh, it will. Of course, he takes his bag. It's just a few pair of his clothes, which he inherited from his mother, and puts it on his back. And he begins to sit on his motorbike, which he inherited from his father, when his Uncle Billy shows up. Uncle Bill? I didn't think you'd come to say goodbye. Look, I don't want you to leave. But as far as your life's concerned, there's nothing I can do for you. Yeah, I'm aware. Nothing except giving you this. Handing Will a check, which is about $450 coming from his bank account. Why are you giving me this? One of your dad's final requests before he went missing. Now, spend it wisely, and please get a job that you can get a decent wage. I don't want to see you living in the streets. Thanks, Uncle Bill. And of course, he sees like a reflection in the window. That would be a pretty striking visual and kind of a reference to the original comic. Turns on the light in the apartment, shuts the door. And he sees a photo of his parents holding him as a baby, loving him very much, making him shed a tear. I wish my mom were still here with me. Then he sees a crystal pink amulet, which has a transcendent the size of like a baseball, which piques his curiosity because he hasn't seen anything like it before. Also, a lot of those people who make props of the heart of Kanjakar just make them like really small, and I think that's actually inaccurate to the show. It's supposed to be the size of a baseball. I don't know why they make them that small, if I'm being honest. What is this thing? Holds it up by the chain and holds it in front of him. Pendant shining bright. Son, search for the other guardians. Mom, is that you? What? A ring? I must be having a nightmare in a jail cell now. Then his mother appears. What, Mom, is that you? That is the heart of Kanjakar. Kanjakar? What's that? A world beyond our own, not shaped by time and space, but by magic and harmony. Okay, but what does that have to do with me? It has chosen you as its keeper and the guardian of the powers of quintessence, the element of life and energy. Okay, but how am I supposed to use them? You will be helped by 4 other people your age. Okay, and where are they exactly? I'm not the best with social skills. Neither was I when I was younger than you. And I received your same powers. You must find people who fit these descriptions. Water may be the element of emotional swerving, but it shall be held by someone cool and collected while surfing. Fire may be the element of heat and fury, but it shall be the child of someone who's served on a jury. Earth may be the element of soil and vegetation, but it is held by someone spiteful of their parents' wealth generation. Air may be the element of happiness and peace with oneself, but it is held by someone who struggles to put delivery boxes on a shelf. I'm sorry, what does that mean? You will know only in time. Mom? Is this be one of the most powerful magical devices in the world? I'd be embarrassed wielding something like that. I'd feel more dignified if it were a silver belt with fancy black and gold magician's hand as its buckle. Then it transforms into something different. Never mind. Never mind. Perfect for holding my hands up. Now, gotta find me some fellow guardians. Then we go to the old bookshop. Or it's actually the old bookshop because that's actually a thorn, not a Y, obviously. And Iris looking for a book about sharks. It's a book about sharks. Something. Nope, just another book about sharks. They've sold most of those things about 50 times already. I know, right? They're not even the most dangerous animals in the ocean blue. Dolphins are. Then she finds a book about surfing. Finally. Yeah, you can finally pay for that thing and surf on those rocky shores. Hey, I have a house outside of Heatherfield. Then Will rocks around the rocky shore to look for other guardians. Hello? Hello? Is anyone here? Guardians of Kanjakar, still recruiting. Then he sees an old guy. Excuse me, sir, do you have any idea where I can find other Guardians of Kanjakar like me? Guardians of Kanjakar? Think you're being funny, do you? Guardians of Kanjakar. Well, that didn't go as planned. Then you really want to go into that K virus? There could be bats in there. They caused a freaking pandemic, for heaven's sake. We were both vaccinated for that. We're fine. There's nothing to be afraid of in there. My mom said there's always fun in trying new things. I bet they'll think I'm crazy too. Mind my own business. Ah! Someone's in trouble. And of course he's just thinking or something. If they're in trouble, then go save them, my son. Oh, that's supposed to be an expression, not a piece of dialogue. Whoops. I think I fucked up another line. That was annoying. Let him go. Yeah, like a delinquent like you will help us. I know we're Kanjakar. Kanjakar? What does that even mean? Yeah. He kicks them one in the back. Yeah, try that. One for size, huh, plant monsters? Pew, 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 pew. Are you two okay? Yeah, physically, but not mentally. Any moment, those plant monsters are gonna swoop in and attack us. What do we do now? One wrong step and we're toast. My mom's ghost said the heart of Kanjakar will give me power. What? You? What about us? You may want to stick this one out, just to be safe. Quintessence Guardian, unite! Quintessence Guardian, unite! Quintessence! Buzz, 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 buzz! Son, use your Kandra Blaster, which the main developed to harness your powers. Got it. Pew pew. Ah. Blue? I love blue. Red is more rad, though. Enough with the outdated 90s talk. Are you two ready to transform? I was born ready. Water Guardian, unite. Fire Guardian, unite. Swim, 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 swim. Heat, 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 heat. Pew, pew. I don't think we've introduced ourselves. Name's Zach. This is Iris. Wilson. Yeah, we heard. Heard what? That you stole my cousin's MP3 player not too long ago. I was framed by my cousin. He stole it. Yeah, right. You're only saying that to escape the blame. If you've met him, you believe me. And this heart of Kandrakar doesn't like it when you're not in harmony with its keeper, so I suggest you actually follow Kandrakar's directions. Plus, I saved you, so be grateful to me for that. He ain't playing with you, I tell you what. Yeah, but they don't expect me to be grateful to him. What? But if he didn't intervene, we'd be toast. Yeah, but one good deed isn't going to make up for everything he did since his dad left him. Iris, you take that back. No, Iris. He didn't sound like he was lying, and Will, please don't treat Iris too harshly. Since her brother got sent to the hospital in a surfing accident. Now, since you mentioned Harmony, I don't think you work. Oh, yeah. Oh, fine. Fine. Now, Will, since you're the keeper, don't you have other guardians to find? Oh, not again. Can't those hornheads give us a break? Fortunately, evil has no break. What should we do? Excuse me, I'm Will, and these are Iris and Zach, whom I just saved from an attack in a cave. We're the Guardians of Kandrakar. We come in peace. And thank you for stabbing those, bangs. Of course, it reveals April, who's roughly their age, maybe older. Of course, she's brunette like her father. Hello, ma'am. Really? The new team of Guardians is led by a delinquent? Come on, you can do better than that. No need to be rude about a guy you've only just met. Easy, Will. This is April Thorne. She was a champion in every sport in high school at Sheffield. You do not want to get on her bad side. She'll, at best, grab you by the collar if you do it. And at worst, well, pulverize you? Yep, exactly. So please calmly proclaim your innocence to her and tell her the truth of the matter. Okay, but pray for me. Look, I'm not here to start anything. I just want to say that about those things I was accused of, I was framed. I believe it was my cousin who did it, but I wasn't there when the crimes were committed. I was only there when the police made it to the crime scene. The only person there other than me was my cousin, and he denied doing it, and so did I. And because of my aunt's influence in city politics, I usually got the blame for it, and got the worst punishment. Are you just reaching out because you're trying to lure me into cuffs? No, it's just a gesture or a handshake. Honest. Okay, I'll trust you, but let's not start a fight. We're all part of an important secret mission. We all must work together, okay? So it's a deal? Yes, you have a deal. You're innocent until proven guilty. Just don't do anything illegal, or the Oracle may have to relinquish your role as a guardian, okay? Fine. It's for a sleepover tonight at my penthouse. Be there by 5. Does she invited us to. Don't think too much about it. Yeah, after her many dating problems in high school, she and boys do not mix. Yeah, but I will have my eye on Will. Don't you worry. Then I'll see you guys at the sleepover tonight. Yeah, me will too. Are you sure you can make it there on your own? You might need a ride. I'll be fine. I've got a motorcycle. Okay, but here's my phone number if you need a ride. Okay. Obviously, I'm not going to show the phone number because it might end up revealing and accidentally revealing a real one. And of course, they bow down to the White King. Because, of course, now we're on the Zimbalan frontier. What do you want, Your Majesty? Kandrakar stirs. Kandrakar stirs, General Vulcan. The air trembles with power. New guardians have awakened. I felt it too, like the earth itself recoiling. The bloodline of the old guardians flows through them. Left unchecked, they will restore the balance and destroy everything we've built. How is this possible? You sense it too, don't you, Medusa? Of course, Annabelle's Medusa. The truth already coils within your heart. They could destroy us if fully trained and formed. They're young adults, Your Majesty. One's even an orphan. They don't even have an air guardian. And yet, how are they that strong? And yet, even young adults can carry storms in their hearts. Perhaps one could be persuaded? Persuasion or corruption, either will serve. Can it be done? They'll kneel to us or crumble beneath us. And that is basically what I would do. Admittedly, kind of a chilling ending. So, again, I just want the characters to have their own personality, their own thing. I think it's a little bit better, though it kind of copies from Kamen Rider Dragonite. So, also where I've been, my old Every Neighborhood Association, it's gonna get off the ground sooner or later. We're gonna probably start our bank account, so we'll probably be active again sooner or later, fully active. And we'll probably be able to host endless parties without anyone else's help. So that should be cool. As for the elimination series, that's gonna probably be partially delayed, or I might rush it. I don't know. But in general, that one's not going to be the biggest priority. Was a little excited about it, but no, not so much. So I will try to finish it, and the reason why I did 10 teams is because I wanted this to kind of be experimental, and if anyone else is interested, maybe it paves the way for others. But if I'm going to do eliminations, it's just going to be that series. I'm not going to commit to anything else Go Anime related. So also, if they do continue, the W.I.T.C.H fan dub does continue, I will consider auditioning for different roles. Maybe Thomas Vandam might be an interesting role where I could do my own Brooklyn style accent, because I could totally see him sounding like that. And possibly what's his name? Ari. I think Arai makes the most sense. Trying to do a Russian accent, something like that. Because I could totally see him being a Russian, because I always saw him as a communist type character, so maybe something like that. You know, brother, content, get lost to the gulag. Into the gulag. I could totally bring out a lot of my voice acting chops on that. If they're open for auditions, I might consider it, but in general, I'll try to demonstrate my own what my voices might sound like. So don't know how they do audition processes, but I'll consider it in the future. So we're coming to the end of the live stream, so I would like to thank those who may or may not be watching. Obviously, not that many people are watching. Maybe they watch them later. And because it's getting late, sorry I was late. Again, life got in the way. I did get to see my mom's new office space. I don't think I'm allowed to film at that, so sorry. But So it's coming to an end, and I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye. May the power protect you, I guess.